Alright, today we're going to do elevators, and we're going to do a really basic up and down platform, button control at both ends. No doors or anything like that, it's just going to be a basic elevator. We'll add some animated doors and childed prop objects later on, but for today we're just going to do a really simple elevator that moves between floors on the press of a button. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like. So there's the platform. You can see the button on each end. So I'll hop on this thing. Okay, it takes me up to the top. It waits for me, and I can press the button again. It takes me back down. Okay, elevator. Going down. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's get out of here. Okay, so the pieces of the elevator. So the elevator is composed of a platform, and then it also has path tracks that it follows, and then we have some buttons. So the first thing I'm going to want you to do is create a block using your block tool. And this block is going to be the elevator platform. So whatever size you want to make it, we're just going to make a block. And make sure it's not too tall for the player to get on. 8 inches would be our step height, but whatever thickness you want to create on it. And go ahead and build it in the orientation that it's going to face. We don't want to rotate the elevator or anything once we've built it. So, make sure you build it, and we don't want to rotate it once you've built it. So make sure that you build it in the orientation that you're happy with. Okay, so once we've made that block, you're going to right click on it, and you're going to tie to entity. Okay, so we're going to select it, right click, tie to entity. Now the entity that we're going to create when you tie to entity here is a func track train. Okay, function track train. So when you scroll down here, be careful though, because there is one called a function tank train, which if you're not paying attention, you will click on this, but it's actually function track train. It's down a couple more. It's function track train. Okay, so this is the entity that they used in Half-Life to move the train that Gordon rides on in the beginning. We can also use it to move vehicles and things like that we need to follow a path. Alright, so here is my function track train. Make sure you click apply, and then we're just going to do a couple things to it. For now, we're just going to go ahead and name it. So I named it elevator 1. On flags, we're going to say no pitch, no user control, and fixed orientation. So this is going to make sure that it doesn't rotate. The player has no control over this. The buttons are going to control it. And then fixed orientation means it's not going to change directions or tilt sideways or anything like that. It's going to stay flat while the player's riding on it. Okay, so func track train, we're going to give it a name. And on flags, no pitch, no user control, fixed orientation. Click apply and close that up. Alright, now the elevator follows this yellow line right here between these entities. So these entities are called path tracks. So let me go ahead and bring one out here. So we're going to use our entity tool. Under objects, you're going to go to path track, and it looks like this. It's a little red box. Okay, nothing spectacular about it. And what we're going to do is we are going to create 3 of them. So now the weird thing about these is one of them is going to set the spawn point for the elevator. The other 2 are going to establish the path that it follows. The one that it spawns at, the elevator will never ever return to that point again. It will only spawn there at the beginning of the level, and then once we move the elevator, it never goes back to the spawn point. It follows the rest of the path tracks. It's always been like this. I don't know why. I've never seen a good explanation for it. But the reason we do it is the elevator, when it comes back to this initial spawn point, it will stop 4 or 5 inches above it. So if you've got this nice elevator platform that's lined up with the ground here, what will happen is your elevator will go up, and then when it comes down, it won't be even with the ground anymore. It'll sit up, 5 or 6 inches. So if you look underneath, I've actually got a third path track down here. This becomes the bottom floor once we put the elevator into motion. So the first one is our spawn point. We have one on the second floor, and then this one down here represents the first floor. So the spawn point is only for spawning the elevator, and then once we're done with it, we never come back to it. We go up here, and then we come back down here. Okay, so we're going to create 3 path tracks. So the first one, I want you to name it Path Floor 1 Spawn. Okay, and remember, no spaces or any characters, special characters in here, just regular numbers and letters. So this first path track is where the elevator is going to spawn. This dictates where in the game the elevator is going to be when the game starts. Okay, so let's name it. We'll come back to these settings. Now the second path track, I want you to put it up where the second floor is at. Okay, so you can see here's my second path track. So here's my first one. Here's my second. And let's name that one Path Floor 2. Apply. And then let's go down to the third one. We're going to put that one a little bit below, about 5 or 6 inches below the spawn point. We're going to put that third path track, and I want you to name it Path Floor 1. Okay? And don't worry about this. We'll come back to this. Just Path Floor 1. Click Apply. Now we've got our path tracks. Now the arrangement of them is pretty important. The elevator platform, if you click on it, there's a little red X or dot in the center here. There's actually an X if you zoom in close enough. Okay, that little X is going to spawn on the red X of that first path track, the one that we named Floor 1 Spawn. Okay, so wherever you put this path track, wherever I put this guy right here, is where the elevator is going to spawn. So what you want to do is you want to line up those little red X's. So you want your platform to line up exactly on the red X of your first path track. And make sure it lines up from top and bottom and side and front. Remember, we're working in 3 dimensions here, so we have to make sure that this platform is lined up with that path track in all directions. Right? And then you'll notice my other path tracks are all lined up in a nice little line right here. They're all stacked right on top of each other. So they're all together. They're all lined up in a nice straight line because this is the direction the elevator is going to take. Okay? All right, awesome. So now let's look at these path tracks a little bit closer. Okay, so the first one, Path Floor 1 Spawn. Where it says next stop target, what that means is where do I want the elevator platform to go after it leaves this path track. So I want it to go to Floor 2. So if you select this and you hit your drop down menu, you should be able to find your second path track. Where it says orientation type, we want to set it to no change, because if you don't, your elevator is going to tilt sideways and face the direction of movement and all that stuff. So instead of being a flat platform, it's going to try to face the direction that it's moving. It's going to flip backwards. Okay, so no flags. No, we'll come back to the output. No input. Nothing really important here. Okay, so no flags, no change here, and this is our Floor 2. All right, now let's look at the output. So what happens is when the elevator passes these path tracks, it's going to try to go to the next stop target. So as your elevator platform approaches these path tracks, this tells it where to go next. If we don't stop it, the elevator will go to the next one, and then when it gets to this one, it'll go to the next one, and it'll just continuously follow the path. That's what these are built for. So on your output tab, we're going to click add on pass. This is the name of your elevator, and then via this input is stop. So what that means is that when the elevator tries to pass this red box, it's going to stop it. Okay, so here's path floor 1 spawn. So this is where the elevator is going to spawn. Under my output, I'm going to click add on pass elevator 1 stop. Okay, now let's go to the one on the second floor. So this is floor 2. So the next stop target, so when the elevator comes to the second floor, if it moves again, where do I want it to go? So its next stop is going to be floor 1. If I'm on floor 2, I want to go back to floor 1. So we're telling it if the elevator is here, that means it has to go down. Orientation type, no change, no flags. Output is going to be the same. You're going to click add, on pass, elevator 1, stop. So that means when the elevator gets to this floor, it will stop. Click apply. Right, now we're going to go all the way down to that third path track, the one that's hidden underneath here. So this is path floor 1. The next stop for this one is floor 2. So if the elevator comes all the way down to the ground floor, I want to go back to the second floor if it moves again. So my next stop target is going to be floor 2. Orientation, no change, no flags. Output, again, we're going to click add, on pass, elevator 1, stop. Okay? Alright, so we have our elevator. First stop target is my spawn point. Height above track is 0. No pitch, no user control, fixed orientation. Alright, now to control the elevator, I need some buttons. So we're going to take our block tool again. And you could use a prop for this if you want to. For the demonstration, I'm going to use a block tool, a brush. But you know, if you want to use one of the elevator button props, that's totally fine with an invisible button over it. But we need some kind of a button to control the elevator. So I'm going to take my block tool, and I just created a little box right here. And then once you create the box, you're going to right click on it, tie to entity, just like we've done with all the other function options we've done. So take your block tool, you're going to make a box, you're going to create it, you're going to select it, right click, tie to entity, and you're going to make it into a func button. Okay, so a function button. Click apply. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this one because I've already got one. Okay, so here's my button. This is going to control the elevator. So for flags, let's go ahead and say don't move. Use activates, and we are not going to toggle it. There's no reason to toggle this. It's just a simple push button. Under class info, let's see, delay before reset. We could probably actually get rid of that or make it a little smaller. Let's see, I don't think we need anything here. We're going to give it a name. I spelled button wrong, so let me fix that. Okay, so I named it don't move, use activates, and the output's pretty simple. We're going to click add, on pressed, elevator 1, start forward. Okay, it's And when you press the button, it basically tells this platform to go to whatever its next stop is. Then we're going to take that button. You can shift, click, drag, create a copy of it, move it up to your second floor. Okay, so here's my other button right here. And I'm just going to change the name of it. So this is button 2 for elevator 1. I've got flags, don't move, use activates, output. You're going to click add, on pressed, elevator 1, start forward. And I'm going to go ahead and lower the reset value there. Okay, so let's look at all the pieces before we test it. Alright, so I've got my Funk Track Train under flags, no pitch, no user control, fixed orientation. Height above track, 0, name, elevator 1. First stop target is going to be your path track that we named floor 1 spawn. Okay, this is the thing that most commonly students will forget. First stop target. Okay, I've got 3 path tracks. The first one is named path floor 1 spawn. The next stop target is floor 2. Orientation, no change. Under outputs, on pass, elevator 1, stop. When I click the button, it tells the platform to start forward. It's going to go up. It's going to go here. Path track, floor 2. Next stop target is floor 1. Orientation type, no change. Output, on pass, elevator 1, stop. So that'll stop the elevator on this floor. Press the button, makes the elevator start forward. This elevator or this path track tells it to go down to the bottom. So it goes down here to path floor 1. Next stop target is path floor 2. Orientation, no change. Output, on pass, elevator 1, stop. On my buttons, I have 2 buttons. They have a name. Under flags, they don't move. Use activates. Under output, on pressed, elevator 1, start forward. Okay, so that is a really simple, basic elevator. Let's go ahead and compile it and double check that it works. I'll go ahead and reload this. Okay. There's the elevator. Goes up. Goes down. It's got that 2-second delay that makes it pause when I try to hit it 2 times in a row. So I can get on it, ride it up, hop off it, hit the button. Works. Okay, so let's reload this and talk about the entities again. Okay, so here's my spawn point. So that means it is currently at, remember, path floor 1 spawn. When I hit this button, it's going to tell this to start forward, and it's going to go up to the next path track. It gets to that path track, and it gets the on pass elevator 1 stop signal, so it stops. I hit the button, and that's going to tell this to start forward again, and it's going to come down searching for path floor 1, which is in this area here. And there we go. When it hits that, it stops and it waits for its next command. Now, to adjust the position of the elevator, if it's stopping too high, too low, it's not stopping lined up, all you're going to do is move the position of these path tracks. You move them up, down, left, and right, and the elevator will go to wherever these boxes are. So if your elevator needs to go up more, you would just simply move this box up. If you need it to move down, you just move it down. Okay? Alright, that is your elevator, basic elevator.